When I started off my first business, I was 19.
Wow, okay.
So I remember going to Sakinaka in the bus and eating omelette pav and vada pav at the D.A.T.A. I still remember one day I didn't have the money to have even that.
So sir, could you explain how you built all this? Like what happened? Like
What all this? It's hardly anything.
after you dropped out of your diploma.
Honest hard work. So for me, no work was too small, and for me, no work was too big. When you know you're not qualified, you really work twice as hard to prove a point.
Wow, crazy.
So you need to learn, self-learn.
Yeah.
So I put in a lot of time, effort, energy into learning even today.
On a human level, what is your motivation with business?
Let me tell you, the biggest motivation is right now we've got about 2,000 employees across businesses, employing and improving the lives of 2,000 families. Go to my school and see those 120 kids. You feel, damn, it's worth it.
Yeah. 100%.
You look at your employees and their lives have been touched, and now they've got married and they've got children, and they're on a bike. They were still yesterday walking, or somebody who was on a bike is in a car. You feel a sense of satisfaction. I think you need to give back with equal amount of energy that you receive from people, and the more you give, the more you receive.
What's good, you guys? Very special episode of the Ranveer Show. I've got an idol of mine, Jimmy Mistry, sir. First time I ever met you was at one of these YouTube brand dating events, and what struck me about you a lot was how you just had this aura about you. So for the young viewers, I actually just want to give them a brief on Jimmy, sir. So sir is actually one of those entrepreneurs I really look up to. So sir began doing business as a teenager. He built one business after another, and today he runs a multi-million-dollar business empire. The empire includes hotels, an interior design business, and adventure parks. He's a self-made millionaire today, and he's going to share his inspirational story on the Ranveer Show. So sir, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Pleasure is mine.
So I want to start off the interview with asking you about your past. And I'm not talking about your engineering past. I want to go before that. So you did your diploma in engineering.
I didn't complete my diploma in mechanical engineering. I dropped out of college,
Wow.
but yeah, I finished my 3 years of engineering.
Do you ever regret dropping out?
Those days, yes, perhaps my father would have been more happier hadn't I dropped out of college and completed my diploma and got the diploma degree. I finished everything besides one paper that I kept flunking in and I could never complete.
Wow.
But having said that, I have never needed my degree or my diploma ever in life. So I honestly, even till to date, I believe in self-learning, and I do not really respect people's degrees and diplomas. I respect the kind of work and the value that they bring in across on the table as a human being, and their knowledge.
And the skill set?
The skill set is super important.
Okay.
And it's so, when somebody is from LBS or LSE or Harvard or Stanford, the kind of skill set they bring across on the table excites me much more than the degree or the diploma.
Got it. So sir, I want to go even further back, and I want to ask you about your family. They say that the Parsi community in general is entrepreneurial. Like there are a lot of businessmen.
Yeah. So I come from a very humble Parsi family. My father was a very straightforward, simple Parsi. 33 years of one single job. And I had to, when I started my business, I had to forcibly convince him to kind of take premature retirement after 33 years of working in Sarbai Chemicals. He used to be in sales. So I've seen him do sales throughout his life.
Wow.
And very honest, very dedicated to his job and his company. So that's the kind of value system that I've grown up with.
Yeah.
Now, my mom was an entrepreneur. So she used to be a school teacher. And after that, she ran her own beauty salon at home. So my bedroom was a beauty parlor.
Wow.
And in Indore, where my dad was posted, then in Nagpur, where my dad was posted. So all places, we used to get a 2-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
So my room used to be the parlor.
Yeah.
And so I've seen and grown up looking at my mom struggle, work, and physically work herself. So for me, no work was too small, and for me, no work was too big.
Yeah.
I could see both my mom and dad struggle in their own lives and put together the house and put together and kind of teach me and my sister whatever we've learned in life.
So from seeing your parents struggle, what's the one thing that stayed with you and helped you till today?
Honest hard work.
Okay.
Both of them.
You apply that to Della as well?
Yeah. For me, that's super important. You don't mess around. You mess around with everything else in life. Work, you don't mess around with work.
So sir, could you explain how you built all this? Like what happened? Like
What all this? It's hardly anything.
After you dropped out of your diploma?
Yeah, after I dropped off my diploma, tremendous amount of pressure from my parents, especially my dad, to do something. And he would like keep giving me tanas all the while. He's doing nothing. And I was still trying to put a garage together to repair bikes and stuff like that. Didn't have the funds.
How old were you, sir?
When I started off my first business, I was 19.
Wow, okay.
When I came back to Bombay, I needed some seed money. I sold off my bike for about 14,000 bucks those days or something. And with that, I bought drilling machine and pest control chemicals, was at Baikala, at Namdev Umaji, bought some chemicals, bought some pump drilling machines and started off a pest control business.
Wow.
So that was 91. And 91 to 93, 2 years I was doing that. Soon enough, I started approaching corporates. Trying to get large scale business of large number of flats. I got Bank of Baroda as one of my clients with almost, I think about 30 or 50 flats, I forgot now, but pest control of those and so on and so forth. So 2 years I started doing a lot of buildings and societies in Bombay, their pest control. Along with pest control, when they started to know me, I would end up doing the water tank disinfecting contracts, then plumbing wall repair contracts that got me into plumbing. And so I would basically lap up any business that would come my way and explore and try and get more and more out of it. 93, I full-fledged went into contracting. So doing contracting jobs for all the leading architects across, especially in Bombay, but even outside Bombay. It was a learning ground for me to understand architectural design practices.
Yeah.
And that would be helping me in my later years as I moved on to furniture. And I soon realized that there is a vacuum. And for me, all businesses begin with an idea and a thought process of identifying a vacuum.
Like, so there was a lack of a good designer.
There was a lack of international design furniture in the country.
Okay.
Those days, which people were ready to lap it up, buy it at any cost, and there was no suppliers.
When was this, sir?
This was in 95.
Okay.
So 93 to 95, I kept doing contracting, and I was looking at something where I could establish myself bigger than contracting.
Got it.
And came across this book, Officio, which is a magazine and a catalog for office furniture. I sent a fax to a couple of companies, and soon enough, I got a return reply from a company by the name of Allahbadia Synthesis. Those days, Allahbadia was the world's second largest office furniture manufacturer. And I told them that I want to come to Italy and see if I can buy their products for India and represent them in India. I had no knowledge, 200 square feet office at Nepean Road. And rest is history. I soon started representing not only Allahbadia Synthesis in 96, but I picked up at least 27 Italian companies.
Wow.
Representing residential furniture, glass pieces, glass furniture, hardware. So each of these companies have now come into India 20 years later and have a showroom or a dealer or representative. I got them into India 20 years back.
Wow.
More than 20 years.
Have you heard of this millennial word called hustler?
Yeah.
Do you know what it means?
Yeah.
It means someone who works hard consistently. Like you finish one of your tasks and you move on to like the next
For people
one.
like us, there's no choice, right?
Yeah,
You don't have an option. You don't have a fallback plan. There's no plan B. Yeah. When people have a plan B, they tend to kind of relax down. Okay, ye nahi hua to ye karenge. In our case, there's no plan B.
100%. So one thing I really want to ask you is that something that stands out about you is like your energy. You've got too much energy, especially for like, I see a lot of other 48-year-olds, they can't match this energy level. So do you ever get tired of business?
I would be lying if I say I don't get tired of things that I do. I do get tired, especially because now responsibilities have been in different directions, 6 business verticals. The energies kind of get sapped because you're not having the right people in front of you. You're forever crying to get the right people. That's one of the main challenges. And people at your wavelength, very difficult to get.
That's your biggest challenge right now.
People is the biggest challenge.
So one thing I really want to ask you is that not as a businessman, but just as a man, as the regular guy, what's your biggest challenge in life right now? Forget the business.
Any entrepreneur, the biggest challenge is finance, finance, and finance. Any first generation entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to expand and grow all the time,
you need some money.
You need funding all the time. So you're crying for money 24 hours a day, all your goddamn life. Because you're trying to expand. Factories, manufacturing, you need money. Trading, you need money. Stocks, warehousing, you need money. So you into businesses which are capital intensive. You are going to require shitloads of funding.
Yeah. And does the shitloads of funding bring tension as well?
It
on
does.
A human level?
But tension is, I think your ability to be able to bear stress is what differentiates boys from men. It's nothing to do with the age, nothing to do with, it's an attitude.
Yeah.
Stress doesn't feel like stress because you already geared up for it. So it's like a runner is running a race. He doesn't get tired because he's trained for it.
Yeah.
So a businessman and entrepreneur needs to train himself to be able to absorb that stress.
Got it.
You should not really penetrate deep inside. You need to be able to handle that stress, because if you can't, there's nobody's shoulders to cry on.
Exactly.
And even if you cry on somebody's shoulders, it's going to backfire.
Yeah.
It's not going to really bring you any relief.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to soothe you.
Yeah. Would that also be your biggest piece of advice for a young entrepreneur?
Absolutely.
That there is going to be stress going forward?
Stop whining and crying because nobody is there to listen to you. Nobody cares about your problems. They have larger problems to face. Learn to kind of raise your bar to accept stress so that the stress doesn't feel like stress. Having said that, I too get stressed a lot of times. And on a personal note, I think prayers and going to a temple, going to an agyari helps you. Yeah. So that's the fallback plan. You're really crying on somebody's shoulder, go there and cry. Yeah, because that helps you to get your balances correct, get your not direction again correct. Yeah. And right enough, God is there to support you with at every single possible stage in my life. I would have stumbled and finished off long back.
Yes.
Every point in life, even today, I am where I am who I am, thanks to the support that He sends me.
Yes.
He sends me an angel in some form or the other.
Yes. So we see a lot of young kids nowadays who kind of think it's cool to be atheist and it's cool to be non-spiritual. What do you have to say to them?
Dude, you need somebody to fall back onto. It's very cool, but when you need somebody to fall back onto, who do you go to?
Yeah.
It's that belief in God and that support from up there that comes to you.
Yeah.
And it comes in different forms and different versions.
Do you feel that spirituality is a big factor in business for you?
Huge.
And do you have God at the back of your head when you're making key business decisions?
Every time. And I think for me, SQ comes before IQ. Yeah. The spiritual quotient is super important. Yeah. And the world is awakening to it. So when employees are being interviewed, they're not being interviewed for their IQ, and they're being interviewed a lot more on their SQ levels.
100%.
So spiritual quotient is super important in a human. You head in a right direction. The human is good because he's spiritual.
So obviously you've been doing business for so long. What are your 3 biggest mistakes that you've done in business?
Biggest mistakes.
It could be with people, finances, whatever.
I think I trust people quite easily.
Okay.
It works both ways. It's a twin-sided sword. It helps you to build relationships, and it also teaches you lessons in life, which are bitter ones, which you should have not trusted the person right in the first go. So that's one. Second mistake is, I constantly expand, and which puts in shitloads of stress to me, the organization, the family, employees. It puts everybody under stress. Yeah. Your personal life is compromised, and you are not able to really enjoy your life the way you would have enjoyed otherwise. Yeah. So it's a lesson learned that you be over ambitious, but in doing so, you're going to drain off everybody else as well.
Yes.
So that's the second point. Your ambitions definitely have a price. The third point, I feel at times you need to learn the art of delegation way early in life.
God.
You need to micromanage, but you also need to delegate. And again, it's a tough call.
Yeah.
It's only by experience that you learn to delegate, fall flat on your face and learn not to delegate. Yeah. And it's only by experience you do everything yourself and say you will never be able to grow if you don't delegate. So it's a balance you need to find.
So, but one more thing I want to ask you again, on a human level, what is your motivation with business? Like, I understand the business motivations.
Okay. So on a human level, let me tell you, the biggest motivation is right now we've got about 2,000 employees across businesses, employing and improving the lives of 2,000 families.
Yes.
Out of my 2,000 people, 650 never belong to this industry.
God.
They've been local villagers who've been hired, who've been trained, who've been given the skill set. So that's one very big thing for me. Giving back to the country and giving back to the community is something that I've been working on. One of the most gratifying things that we are doing today, we adopted 2 schools. Now we are not really going as per the academics. Academic knowledge is there. We are making sure that each of these children turning out will be kick-ass, will be able to be multi-skilled, multilingual, groomed, and they'll be ready. It'll be a pleasure for anybody to employ these kids in their organization because they'll be exposed to a lot more than you can ever expect even an IB school child to be. Yeah. So my kids have gone to an IB school. Believe you me, these kids will kick their ass. Yeah. No two ways.
Yeah. So if you had to pass on one human value to your kids, only one, what would it be?
Give back to
gratitude.
See, gratitude cannot be just expressed without giving back.
So real world action.
Give back. You need action. Give back, because if you only when you give back, you have that sense of achievement. And when you give back to the society, you give back to people, you give back to your community, you give back to your country. The satisfaction and the gratification in your own eyes. It's not in the eyes of the world. Yeah. It's in your own eyes. So when you die, tomorrow if I were to die, I have a certain sense of satisfaction about what I've done in my years of living.
Yes.
Go to my school and see those 120 kids, you feel, damn, it's worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
You look at your employees and their lives have been touched, and now they've got married and they've got children, and they are on a bike. They were still yesterday walking, or somebody who was on a bike is in a car. You feel a sense of satisfaction.
Got it. Yeah.
You teach people design, you teach people business, you teach people ethics.
Yeah.
There's a sense of satisfaction.
Okay. Anyway, that was the interview, sir. Thank you so much, Jimmy, sir.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I learned a lot during this interview. Obviously, I'm going to link sir's handles in the description. I'm going to link any place you want to follow, sir. Go check out the handles. Anyway,
I can do one more thing for you.
Yes.
So anybody watching this interview and has any questions, they can shoot out the questions on my handles or yours, and I'll make sure every endeavor, the replies will come and they'll come straight from me.
Okay, cool. So I think people are going to just drop a lot of comments under this video.
No problem. Any questions? Feel free. Comments are most welcome.
Cool.
It keeps me going.
Sounds good. From one hustler to all the other hustlers.
Cheers, guys.
Okay, see you guys.